Hey everybody, welcome to
Every crowd has a platinum lighting number four. Number four. It's number four. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Oh, thank you so much. I would like to thank for this episode moving forward. I would like to thank Carl from the Publix liquor store. Man, what are you going to shave your mustache? I would also like to thank Thomas the Train. He's pretty interesting guy. And I would like to thank Nicholas. Nicholas, if you haven't heard, it's the milk that Santa drank that I somehow brought to life with my magic unicorn on. Okay,
Get out of here! Welcome to Every Cloud Has a Platinum Lining number four. My kids are hilarious. It is New Year's Eve. It is 9:36 Eastern Standard Time. We're less than 3 hours away from midnight. And being in 2020, I said I would put out a video today, and I'm trying to live up to everything that I say. So here we go. First, we're gonna look. Rudy Gonzalez is a guy who's he's a trainer of great note out of Texas. He runs shows as well. He's affiliated with the Shawn Michaels Wrestling School, Texas Wrestling Academy, I believe it's called. And a guy that I like a lot. I like reading his posts. He posts a lot on Facebook. And there was a post of his that caught my notice. So I'm going to put that up right now. And there it is. What it says, it's Rudy. He put it up yesterday, I believe, and it said, live shows aren't the place to get your reps in. Wrestling fans aren't paying $10, $15, $20, $25 to watch you practice. That's what the gyms are for. And I just checked it a little while ago, and there's 58 people liked it, and only one comment was somebody saying amen. It didn't really inspire discussion, which means, and a lot of people liked it, which means it just must be gospel or common sense. Too bad it's absolutely fucking wrong, and it could not be more wrong. Let me read it again. Live shows aren't the place to get your reps in. Wrestling fans aren't paying $10, $15, $20, $25 to watch you practice. That's what the gyms are for. This is as erroneous as it could be. And in old school wrestling, it's even more erroneous because there were not really wrestling schools and gyms to practice in. They didn't do it that way. You were a younger wrestler, you were put on the card, and you were put with a more senior person who would teach you in real time in front of a crowd how to work. And you would try stuff. And it was exciting because not everything works in a live performance. Now, people would say you would never go out to a sporting event. Wrestling is not, pro wrestling is not, repeat not, a sporting event. It is a physical spectacle. And most old school guys would argue it is best when all the spots are not worked out in the back and choreographed nonsense, but you call things in the ring. And not only do you call things in the ring, here's something that we don't talk about very much. You improvise. And improvisation is creating things on the spot. The best wrestling moments were bullet points, and then something arose from that foundation of the bullet points that was spontaneous. And it was wonderful. Sometimes things don't work in a performance, but trying things out in front of a crowd is the time to try them. Now, am I saying try a pro wrestling move that's potentially dangerous without calling it out or without knowing if you can do it or things like that? Of course not. But what I'm talking about is this idea that live shows, again, aren't the place to get your reps in. Live shows are exactly where you should get your fucking reps in. Are you crazy? It's the only place that you really get your reps in. And that doesn't just go for pro wrestlers. That goes for bookers, people running the show. Right? In a perfect world, how do you do it? You kind of hook onto somebody else's show, and maybe they let you come up with a finish or two, and then maybe they slowly let you start booking a match or two or agenting, and then you kind of run a show, and then once in a while you might run a smaller show for a larger organization that's not as important. Does anybody do it that way? No. At some point, people just fucking dove in and did it. And I hate the notion of an old school guy. And again, I respect the fuck out of Rudy. Trained great guys, runs a great show. I would agree with, I say I agree with about 60% of what he says. And I love him though, because I think he's 100% honest all of the time, even when it's not necessarily a popular opinion. And there's people who fuck with Rudy all the time and argue with him. And most of the time they're just doing it to argue with him. I like that Rudy is truthful. I like that Rudy put up that clip of Osiris and them doing that silly dance thing, and he admitted, I fucking love this fucking thing, even though it seems to run counter to everything that he thinks about pro wrestling. I love that he's so honest. I fucking love it. But he's dead wrong with this. Live shows are the place to get your reps in. We have this notion that everybody on a card is equal, and it's even crept into someone like Rudy's thinking, but it's not true at all. It's a place where veterans mix with brand new people. Brand new people try their shit out in front of a live crowd. And I would argue that the best wrestlers, particularly in the state of Georgia, worked out a lot of their shit in front of a live crowd. That's where you work it. Comedians, I would say comedy and stand up is much more akin to what pro wrestlers do than sporting events. Just because they're both physical doesn't make pro wrestling a sport. It is a place where you try things. And where do comedians try out material? Because the whole point of pro wrestling is reacting and interacting and getting an emotional response from a crowd. How can you fucking do that getting your reps in front of nobody? You can't. Even a WWA 4 gym show, the really informal ones where they're just fucking around in front of the other boys, aren't really a great place to get your reps in, are they? It's much better to do it in front of a live crowd. Comedians work out their new material in front of a live crowd. We all know that there are shows that are bigger and shows that are not bigger. And would I advise that you work shit out and get your reps in at major shows for an organization? No. But there are organizations that run as much as a show a week, 2 shows a week. Fuck, PCW used to do, on average, 8 to 13 shows in a month. And most of the people on those shows were students of mine who were relatively new. Did they work their shit out and get their reps in front of a live crowd? Fuck yes. That's how they got good fast. You can train and you can train and you can train. And it's a very modern wrestling notion that you're supposed to constantly train and constantly learn and go to seminars. And you should be going to the gym and you should be going. This is going to sound blasphemous coming from somebody who trains people and somebody horse shit. There comes a time where you cut the fucking cord and you stop going to formal schooling and you learn more by doing. And that means getting your reps in. Getting your reps in is the way that you get better. And getting your reps in front of a live crowd, a real live crowd, is how you get to be great quickly. Period. Hear that. That's the platinum lining in this cloud of mine. It's how you get better. And live crowds better learn to expect it. They aren't going to a polished, perfect show. polished, perfect shows are fucking boring. Have you noticed? You're going to a live experience where the feeling should be anything can happen. And there's going to be crashing and burning and failure. There's going to be tragedy and there's going to be triumph. And you may see something in a wrestling match that you'll never see in the exact way, shape, or form again. And that's a big part of the excitement. And it's a big part of learning. And sometimes you do the exact same spots in the exact same way in front of two different audiences and you get completely different reactions. And you know what that is? That's learning too. And you can't learn that unless you get your reps in front of a live show, right? You can't learn to work different kind of crowds if you aren't trying and getting your fucking reps in front of different kind of crowds. Right? Exactly right. So Rudy, while well-intentioned with his post, and all of those people who clicked like just did it out of reflex. We have to analyze everything that everybody says of note, including and especially me. But that goes for Jim Cornette, Rudy, me, anybody else who's dispensing advice. Without questioning, you don't improve. And frankly, if you apply Rudy's logic to himself, because he posts a lot, social media isn't the place to just spit out your unsubstantiated ideas. People aren't giving you their time and their resources and reading your stuff to watch you just try out an idea. That's what your private life is for. It's ridiculous. Facebook is about throwing out ideas and people responding to them. What's more notable about this post than the fact that I disagree with it is the fact that nobody else said anything. Nobody else challenged any part of it because it seems infallible. But when something seems infallible, there's a good chance it's as fallible as a motherfucker. No icons. Question everything. And for God's sakes, wrestlers and performers and bookers out there and promoters, live shows are the place to get your fucking reps in. Get as many in as you can. Do as many shows as you can, especially if you're new. Do shit shows all the way to the best shows that you can get on. Fucking do them all. Jack Nicholson had it right, which is actor's job is to get work. If you look at the lineage of that guy's work, especially his first 2 or 3 years, he took every shit movie he could fucking get into. And that's how he got great. He got his reps in fucking movies. And that's where he should have fucking got them in. Your job is to get booked and then to try shit out. Get your fucking reps in. Because the more reps that you get in, the stronger you become. And there's no better place to get your reps in than in front of the live crowd because that's who you're trying to fucking entertain and connect with. And there's only one way you learn to do that shit, and that's by doing it. This has been Every Cloud Has a Platinum Lining. Happy New Year, motherfuckers.